Hey everyone. We are live right now. We're not ready to start the podcast just yet. I'm just waiting for Megan to arrive and then just do some pre show like right away, waiting for people to show up. And then we're going to get started recording, talking about Little Women and other films, but mainly Little Women. But how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? How do I sound, by the way, for people that are joining? Yo, Anthony, what's up? How do I sound? How do I sound? Uh, I'm just letting Megan know I'm live so she can join. How do I sound? Since you're in the chat, just give me. You sound like no. We're not doing this. We are not doing this right now. We're not. Uh, but what's up? How you doing? I saw that. Were you? Are you watching uh Paint, the Bob Ross biopic? Good luck with that. So, no, I'm actually excited to see that too. It just hasn't started playing near me. Join if you want. You just got out of watching Paint. It's amazing. I do want to see it. The two movies that I have on my list that I'm probably going to see this weekend is I want to see A Good Person really bad, especially after watching Little Women. I want to see A Good Person because of Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh. I'll get into it on the podcast, but she, she's amazing in Little Women. She's literally amazing in Little Women. But I'll get into that like on the actual show. Um, and then I want to see Dungeons and Dragons, which I still haven't seen yet because I saw other films instead. But yeah, there's so many films that just dropped like all of a sudden. Like in the past 2 weeks, they're like all of a sudden they're just dropping hella films. And the thing that I am mad about, I probably won't mention this on the show, so this is a pre-show. Uh, it is that um, Netflix. I canceled Netflix because finances, and then Netflix just decides to drop beef. Just all of a sudden, I got some beef with Netflix, serious beef with Netflix for doing that to me. Uh, so I'm tempted to resubscribe or use someone's password use someone's password to watch Beef. But Florence Pugh is just outstanding. I want to talk about Little Women. Hook me into the group. Uh, if if you want, but aren't you? Did you just get out of Little Women? You're not home yet. Are you home? You got nothing. Impromptu guest Anthony just hopping on impromptu. I'm waiting for Megan right now, but she should be joining here pretty soon. But uh, looks like Megan's dropping in. Uh, Let me just send you the link, Anthony, and I'll get you in here. and I'll send you the outline too of everything. Just impromptu guest. There's the outline. I'm shooting you the outline and everything. And then here's the. Did you get it? Megan, what is going on? I think I might have to. What is going on? Hold on.
Hi!
Let's see if this will work. Yeah, this works.
Woo! Awesome. This is actually my first time using this too. So like I'm actually pretty hyped because
Okay, cool. And Anthony's gonna hop on here pretty soon, so I might have to rearrange the layout. So I'll just wait for him to join.
Okay, sounds good.
He just joined the live on YouTube. He was just like, I want to talk about Little Women.
Nice. It's gonna be fun.
I'm like, okay. So let's just wait for him to join if he joins.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. But you got the outline?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I looked over it.
And you just want to go by Megan? Just Megan's fine?
Yeah, just go with Megan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then we'll do what we've been watching. So pick like a few films you want to highlight.
Okay.
And then we'll get into our review. We'll talk about Little Women, and then I'll wrap up by saying what we're going to be talking about next week. Yeah. And then you can promote your stuff, and then we'll end.
Sounds good.
No longer than 2 hours. I don't think so.
Okay, sounds good because I'm just going off of like basically caffeine. Like I had like a sweet tea for dinner. Well, not like for dinner, but like along with my dinner tonight. And then also like I found these, like I'm not within like the keto diet or anything, but I found like when I was in the grocery store, I found like these keto like chocolate truffle things. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I get like chocolate, but it's like a little bit ish healthier. So I'm like, okay, I'll have that. But I'm telling you, like the amount of like just natural chocolate caffeine that's in it is insane. So like
that's insane.
It is because like I just like because like I can't eat them at night because I will wake up, I kid you not, like at 4 a.m. just randomly and not be able to go back to sleep. Like it's wild. So like I had a couple of those too, like right after, just so I could stay awake because I was up last night watching this movie and after work and after recording and stuff like that, and then I end up falling asleep on the movie, so I woke up earlier before I had to go to work.
We'll get into it, but this is your second rewatch, right?
It is, yeah. No, but I haven't watched it since I watched it in theaters back in 2019.
Okay, I'll get into it on the podcast, but it's I don't want to say beef with Greta Gerwig. I'll get into it. I'll get into it when Anthony gets here. But I will just say vaguely that I liked Little Women. I think this is a solid film. This is great. Yeah.
It is.
But yeah. I also saw Mario this morning too, so I was kind of riding off the high of that too.
Oh, nice. Oh man. I'm gonna probably, I don't know if I'm going to watch it tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to watch it sometime this weekend though. Like 2 movies that I really want to see came out this weekend. So Air and also the Mario movie. So
I was just telling Anthony when he was in the chat is that I wanted the 2 movies I'm gonna try to see. I want to see Dungeons and Dragons since I haven't seen that yet, which I'm kicking myself because, like, yeah, that's like my whole being. And then I want to see A Good Person really bad.
Yeah.
Zach Braff's. Mainly, I want to see A Good Person even more now because freaking Florence Pugh is fucking. She's so good in Little Women. She's so
She
good.
is. Yes.
She's
Yeah.
good in everything.
Yeah. No, she's so good, and I think she's like dating Zach Braff too, or something like that, or at least they're like in a relationship of some sort. So it's kind of cool that they're like working on a project together. Worked on a project together. Yeah.
Right. Oh, here's Anthony. Here's Anthony. Let's get his bum in here.
Which
You're messing up my layout. You're messing up my layout.
You talking shit about Greta Gerwig, I see? Oh, shoot.
You're messing up my layout.
I hate when I'm talking with food in my mouth.
Hold on. Let me just...
Back up.
StreamYard has changed this.
Podcast. Damn.
This is going to be so
This was going to be a calm podcast, but I guess not. No.
Yeah. Okay, let's save this.
My mystery box.
Nice.
So I got my mystery box. I didn't go see Mario today. I went to go see Paint. So it's so weird that I bought a Mario popcorn box watching a Bob Ross Paint outfit.
Nice. That's another movie I'm like interested in watching too. Is Paint, but it's not on my local theater yet.
It's surprisingly, it was gonna come out the Tampa theater, and I'm like, okay, I'll just wait till Monday to go see it because I'm working. Holy shit, it's at West Shore. I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm working at West Shore, so as soon as I get off work, I'll go straight into the mall and get my ticket to see it. And it was empty. There was no one in the theater. That's sad.
Oh, bad.
There was nobody in the theater. I don't know why. Like, the movie did not have, there was no commercials for the movie on TV, no ads for Paint.
Yeah, the only ad I've seen was on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think on like an Instagram, like on Instagram too, but it wasn't like an ad. It was just like someone talking about it.
Like, nobody's, I was the only one in the theater.
That's
only
crazy.
one.
All right, let me just add you to the outline just so I can okay.
Oh. I wish food never existed. I said I wish food never existed because when you eat something, it gets stuck right up in your teeth.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Especially you got the outline? Did you get the outline I sent you?
Go to sleep. Go to sleep now. I don't got that. I didn't get that line.
Chaos. It's gonna be chaos.
Mom, you're in the podcast. You know that, right? You're in the podcast, right? You know you're in the podcast, right? Mom,
Anthony, you know you're alive.
This is my grandpa, I guess he had a 4th cameo.
Oh my god. I'm done. I'm done. Hold on. Let me just test this out. Just okay. Alright. How's that look?
It looks good.
Okay, sweet. Alright. I'll count us down. Anthony, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you get the outline of everything we're talking about?
No, I didn't get an outline.
You want to look at it real quick?
It's not on my Instagram. It's not on my DM. Where'd you send it to?
I sent it to you.
On where? Instagram?
Yeah.
Never got it.
I sent it to you. It's right there.
I don't think I got it. Oh, there we go.
Anthony, you crack me up.
Okay, yeah. and simple.
You crack me up, Anthony. Okay. So I'll count us down. I'll count us down from 3 to 1. From 3 to 1, and then I'll intro the podcast. Intro both you guys. We'll go into what we've been watching, and then we'll get into Little Women. And
All right.
Then we'll wrap up. No longer than 2 hours. No longer than 2 hours. Okay. So counting us down in 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to the Rail Lovers Podcast. My name is Marley Silverbrand, and today on the podcast, we are continuing our trek on the Letterboxd Top 250 with the 242nd film, Little Women. And joining me to make sense of it all is Megan and Anthony, Vintage Caban. Welcome to the Rail Lovers Podcast. And Anthony, welcome back to the Rail Lovers Podcast.
Hey.
Megan, this is the first time you're on the Real Lovers Podcast. Do you want to just promote your stuff? You make really great TikToks and really great movie reviews. Just tell the people at home where they can follow you and who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Megan. I do movie reviews on TikTok and Instagram. So my handle is at Megan's World. That's MEAGANZ World. So yeah, I do movie reviews, a little bit of cosplay, but mostly movie reviews. So yeah, it's a really awesome time. I'm really into horror films, but I also like good Oscar baity movies too, such as Little Women. No, I won't say it's Oscar bait, but it was a good one. It was nominated, so.
Yeah, it was nominated and it did win for screenplay, right?
I'm not sure, but I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony, welcome to the podcast.
It was pure Oscar bait because we've seen this remake so many times. But I will say that Greta Gerwig's version is probably the best one out of all the other versions I've seen.
It really is.
I'll just say this before we get into the review. It was so nice watching this movie, especially all the movies prior to this have been old movies. So watching a movie made in 2019, it's like, this is modern cinema. And I'm like, it's so nice seeing like a film that's mixed correctly, edited correctly, that has nice shots. No hate to like older films, no hate to older films at all, but like it was so nice to like kind of come back into this era. But but before we get into our featured review, Little Women, I also like to ask all my guests what we've been watching over the past week. So Megan, I'll let you go first. What have you been watching recently?
So I've been watching. I was not gonna lie, I was kind of in a bad mood this week. So I was watching some of my comfort films. So I was watching Shrek and Shrek 2. So I was just like, look, I need to like heal my inner child. So I was watching that first to kind of get started, and then I watched Knock on the Cabin with my boyfriend, and we thought it was okay. Like, we weren't too crazy about Knock on the Cabin, to be honest.
Yeah, and I thought Knock on the Cabin was pretty okay. I thought the ending was not really. It's like everyone's kind of expecting like a twist ending.
Yeah.
With M. Night Shyamalan, and there wasn't really much of a twist. It just kind of was there.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, this is it. All right. And I felt like was supposed to be the twist was very underwhelming. So that's kind of like where it was. And then like M. Night Shyamalan, like he makes horror movies that are unintentionally hilarious. So we were more laughing than like, having that suspense. Mm-hmm. And like, we did a lot of eye rolling too.
Yeah.
But I like the movie quite a bit. I thought it was pretty interesting. Would I say it's like M. Night's like masterpiece? Not at all. I mean, I like this. I love the cinematography, the 35 anamorphic. I love that M. Night Shyamalan has decided to switch back to film since Old. I mean, I really don't want to see that format of film die at all. Like, I want film to keep thriving and thriving for ages to come. And I don't know what caused M. Night to shoot back on film. But I mean, come on, since Last Airbender was his last movie shot on film. And that's like, wow. 10 years later, he is like, what? I was not expecting him to be shot on film. I was like, what the hell caused him that? And that's amazing. I love that he really cares a lot about celluloid. And I think it's safe to say that his next movie with Warner Brothers, he's gonna go back to celluloid. I think it's safe to say. Because he went on the record during a Knock at the Cabin interview that he loves shooting the suspense on celluloid. That celluloid makes you scared. It makes you frightened. And I can see that a lot. Knock at the Cabin is a good movie. It's not a great movie. It does have some narrative issues and some cheesy ass dialogue. We don't get a lot of the backstory from the villains is not really motivated strong. Like,
that was my problem too.
Rupert Grint's character he's great. And I could tell when he's doing an American accent and it's not the strongest. Like you can easily tell, his accent is coming back. Like I don't know. I'm so bad at mocking British fucking actors. I'm so bad. Because I don't know how to sound like Ron Weasley. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can tell his English accent was kicking in. Yeah. Unless he's doing the Boston accent perfectly, which there are times where he's done the Boston accent very well. But the way he's doing it sometimes can feel like Boston. He thinks that he's confusing Boston as England when they're not. But he does a good job. But until the dialogue when he says "I'm single," and I'm like, that right there just threw me off because I'm like, isn't it supposed to be a psychological horror movie? Or
exactly. Like that was kind of my whole thing. Like it's again, this is not Shyamalan's worst film. It's definitely not.
No.
But I was just saying, I felt underwhelmed, by it. I actually liked Old more than this one, not gonna lie, even though Old was also unintentionally hilarious. But as far as like a cinematic, like visually, both of the films were like beautiful, So that's what I liked about both of these. And like I wish they went into the more like villains, to a certain extent, motivations instead of like, I mean, I don't want to ruin it too much, but
Right.
That was just kind of like, I was just like, oh, really? Like, I just kind of felt myself just saying, really too much.
Their motivations.
If that was a movie, I'm not going to really like it that much.
That's fair. Their motivations for like, okay, you got to kill, like, we need to kill each other. Like, okay, their motivations are so stupid. Like, I have a kid who wants to be a doctor. No one gives a fuck if your kid wants to be a doctor, for fuck's sake. My daughter is in gym class, says Batista. Save my daughter. Kill that man, and you save my daughter. Get the fuck out of here. That was
exactly. Like that's exactly what my boyfriend said. He's like, wait, he wants to kill this dude because of a gym class?
Like, you gotta make a sacrifice. I'm like, what the fuck does your kids have to do to What it's like, what does your kids' sympathy have to do with, trying to get these people to kill themselves? It feels like gaslighting. It feels like, I don't know. I hate that fucking term so much. I want to say manipulating. It's like manipulating people to kill themselves when I'm not going to go down that path because that's spoiler territory. But what I will say is that the motivations, their backstories was what made the movie not so good. Was Batista saying his backstory? I have a daughter who is dead, and if you guys don't make a sacrifice, more kids will die. That sounds like something a pedophile would say. Abby Lee's motivation is so like, I didn't care for her. She was miscast as fuck. And the other woman, what was it? Nikki Bird, or her name is.
I'm not sure.
She did a good job. She was actually like the only convincing person out of everybody. Like, she wanted to help, but she didn't want to help.
Oh yeah. Like the nurse.
Yeah, the nurse. Like, her character was actually
no, I like, and she was in Old. I was like, oh wait, she played. I was like, oh okay, yeah.
She's actually the least convincing villain out of everybody. Batista does a good job. no
He
idea.
was great as a villain. He was. I just wish
Yeah.
it was more character motivation. Like
It's
like
written.
he was
Right.
amazing. Yeah,
It's
I really
right.
liked him. He was like the highlight of the movie for
Yeah,
me.
the performances can be good. It's just the way you rate the way you write the characters is the result. It doesn't matter about the performance. It's the written
Yes.
characterization of
Oh,
it.
I would say this one thing about it, and we'll move on to your what you've watched recently. One thing I would say, this is actually in recent years, this is like his best directed film, because a lot of times he kind of takes really good actors and make them look terrible, but he actually did a great job directing them, you know? So I would give him like because that was the problem with old terrible direction as far as like, okay, this is how, like, you can have that cringe dialogue but at least make it sound somewhat convincing.
Yeah,
He didn't do that with old, but he does that really well. Even though the dialogue was cringe in this movie, they were convincing with the dialogue, you know.
the thing
So
about old was the way the camera movements were like really bad. Like it was like you're moving around with the truck gimbal or whatever, and then you're
yeah.
like zooming in so close. As a director, it's never a smart idea to run, drive through the sand with the gimbal holding and then zoom right in as you're, riding fast with the camera, because that looks so bad. That looks like a Baz Luhrmann kind of thing. You know, that kind of looks really bad. Unless you're Mad Max Fury Road and you can pull it off very well, but unfortunately, it just doesn't look that good. That movie, he did have Old had way more cringy moments than Knock at the Cabin.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the thing about Old is that I like Old a little bit more than Knock at the Cabin too. It's just that it's I believe Old was actually self-funded. Like Knock at the Cabin, I think was picked up by someone, right? So all the flaws you're kind of talking about with Old are probably like the restrictions that he was kind of dealing with of being like self-funded.
Probably.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I like the
budget's
story.
basic.
I mean, I like the story more in Old, and actually have the graphic novel that Old is based on. So I was just like, I like the story more, and I do kind of like his take on it a little bit too. Like, what was like the twist and kind of the meaning behind it. I thought that was more powerful, but like again with this one, I'm just like, okay, I guess, but.
Yeah,
I do like his take on the apocalyptic movie. Like, I do like that because I'm not really much of an apocalyptic type of movie person to begin with, but I do like his take on it. I just wish it would it was just so surface level for me, and just kind of, I wish it just kind of went a little bit deeper in character motivations and whatnot.
Well, the thing about Knock at the Cabin and all the apocalyptic like news footage, that was probably the thing that probably took me out of the movie the entire time, because it's like it's so cheesy. Like it like
yeah, same thing with, okay, so like I live in Oregon, so I know when they're talking about the Oregon coast and stuff, I knew exactly where they were talking about. And I was just like, okay, that's not Oregon. And then they were talking about like, oh, it's like water coming from Portland. I'm just like, bruh, like, like stop. I was like, that is technically not, that is not like the Oregon coast, or at least what Oregonians call the Oregon coast. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, but they were talking about Cannon Beach. I'm like, okay, that is the coast. But then when they showed it, I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah, it was they weren't very believable at all, and it just took me out of the film. And just like the way it was shot too, he didn't even shoot it like actual news footage. It was just like, let's just go onto a random beach somewhere and just pretend to have these people react to like what's going on. And it just, like I said, it took me out of the film. But Knock at the Cabin you watched, and then you also watched Shrek 1 and Shrek 2.
Yeah, I Shrek 1 and Shrek 2, and then I watched a little bit of the first Puss in Boots.
So it sounds like you had a pretty good week.
I did have a pretty good week of like watching movies and stuff. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
Well, before I go to anything, I will say about Old is that I give that movie a B, and Knock at the Cabin, I give it a B, the same level grade, because both of them are like they're the same exact thing of how I felt. I like Old, but Old was like a little bit Knock at the Cabin, I take that back, B plus, for the merit of it was better helmed, it was better directed, and he actually used anamorphic lenses, which was like, it's been a long time since he hasn't shot anamorphic. and that actually looks like his '90s films. It kind of gave me a lot of like throwback about it. Other than that, what movies did I watch? So I was rewatching Licorice Pizza.
Oh,
I'm trying to fucking sleep. I need some sleep. So sometimes I like to put on a movie to make me go to sleep. I did watch.
Shots fired to PTA. I'm just kidding.
No. Please don't whip my ass. I love that fucking movie. Okay, I saw that movie 5 times in theaters. Okay, don't whip my ass.
It's a good movie to have on the background. Like, it's not like it's bad. It's just like it's a good like background, or like, oh, I like to sleep to this. Like, it's like one of
exactly. I love that movie so much. Like, I love Licorice Pizza. That's my favorite movie of 2021. Like, that's a feel good movie. You know,
it is.
I needed that movie. Like, I needed something like Dazed and Confused, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Almost Famous. Like, I needed that, and that was the film where I felt like I'm still angry to this day that Belfast won the original screenplay over that. I'm like,
true. I agree. Like, Belfast for me was just such a snoozer. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it was. And like, I hate to say that because it's based off of someone's like life and family and stuff. But I'm just saying Roma did it so much better.
Megan.
Yeah.
Tear.
Yeah, tear. Exactly. You know what I call Belfast?
I love Belfast. I feel like I'm the only one on this planet that actually loves Belfast like a lot.
Belfast mean fuck fast. Fuck fast. Fuck fast is a boring movie. That movie sucked. Like, oh my gosh, you Irish fucker. Go chase my lucky charm in fucking Belfast.
No, Belfast. Okay, I would give it to you like the first not the intro, not like the intro scene, like where it's like, you know, shows like Belfast in modern day. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit jarring, but when like the first like scene to kind of set the mood of like, you know, the area and stuff, I was like, okay, that's good. But like, I like elements of Belfast, but I wouldn't say like that was like an amazing movie, you know, in my opinion.
The movie comes off as self-pretentious, and it's so fucking stupid.
It does. That's what it is. It comes off as pretentious. It comes off as like, I'm trying to make an Oscar film. Like, that's what it seems like, you know, or like Roma did it, so I'm going to do something similar, you know. It's just what it kind of feels like. Roma
is a better movie than Fuck Fast.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck did Kenneth Branagh do? What do you do? Suck Thor's dick and make like what? One
Oh my god.
On the Express? What he makes mediocre ass movies. Like, what the fuck did he do to get an Oscar win? Like, he's not overdue. No, he should get hell away.
Anthony, Licorice Pizza. You were watching Licorice Pizza. You said you were watching it.
Yeah, PTA has been in the industry longer than fucking Sir Kenneth Branagh. He deserves it more than Kenneth, okay? But what the fuck does PTA have to do to win? Suck somebody off at the Oscars? What does he have to do? Can he make does he have, like, you know, it's so different. It's kind of like how I felt about Mark Madonna, because I knew he was going to lose the Oscar for original screenplay. The hype for Everything Everywhere is so damn strong. It's unbeatable. So I'm like, Mark Madonna, what do you have to do to get an Oscar? Make a movie that's 4 times better than the other movies you made. Which is also another movie that I rewatched was I actually watched In Bruges.
I love it.
I watched that like 2 weeks ago. But, you know, that's a great movie. It's a good movie. It's not great. It's not Madonna's best, but I do enjoy the hell out of that movie so much.
It is a very enjoyable movie.
The motivation for Ralph Fiennes wanting to kill Colin Farrell was kind of like the weakest part of the movie, because he shot a boy. Okay. Why do you want to kill him over that? To me, it's not very clever writing. It's not good writing right there. And I get it. You know, this is Madonna's directional debut. Like, I understand. But everything else about the movie, love it. The duo, the chemistry, the comedy, the guy when the fat guy is chasing after Colin Farrell, amazing. But I think that, you know, with, you know, Mark Madonna and Paul Thomas Anderson, they're both great writers, and they are overdue for something. They're overdue for something. I think that PTA needs to make an original movie and have Denzel Washington in it.
That would be so good.
Like, why is it that when PTAs make a movie, it's always white people all the time? You know, I want to see a movie where it's mixed. You know, you have white people and black people all together. I want to see more of that. You know, I want to see an ensemble, kind of like Boogie Nights. That's the only way he's gonna win.
You know what? Yeah, I agree. Like he needs to have like a really big. Well, he tried to do that with Licorice Pizza, but it just like it kind of got like a little. It got overshadowed by like the two leads, which is fine because I'm telling you, they were new at acting.
Well, the issue with Licorice Pizza was that it was too short for a runtime. Like, I wish the movie was a little more longer because I could have seen more Bradley Cooper, and there were a lot of
I want
deleted
to see more
scenes.
Bradley Cooper too. Yeah, I agree.
There were
I mean,
so many scenes that I saw in the commercials and the trailer that was cut out of the movie. Like
Yeah.
when the woman was swimming and she hits her head in the glass, where Alana Haim is sitting in the chair, where Bradley Cooper's hitting cars and goes, ah!
Yeah.
Like, where's that at? Like, fuck you, PTA. You should have had that in the movie. That was hilarious. Like,
I wanted to add more Bradley Cooper, like for sure. Like, but that's why he was only added in the trailer so people will actually watch the movie thinking it'd be more Bradley Cooper because they're like, I don't know who this Alana Haim is, unless if you like actually listen to Haim,
I mean, I like Haim. I actually listen to her music. I love Haim. Haim's a great band. If the movie would have had a better runtime, it should have been 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Yeah, or like exactly, I agree too. Or like, I mean, granted, like Cooper Hoffman is like Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, but no one's gonna put the two and two together, So it's just
well, I think if the film was nominated for SAG Ensemble, and it won, it would have had a chance of winning Best Picture. It would. But here's the thing: Ben Stiller, Christopher Walken was in the movie too. But
yeah, that's true.
It was actually false. But there were rumors about it. I was like, if Ben Stiller's in the movie and Christopher Walken, that would have been fucking great.
That would be really good, especially for that era.
Right.
I mean, we have Sean Penn though. But
you also have Tom Watts.
We do have Tom Watts.
You have the guy John Michael Higgins from Fred Claus and Couples Retreat. And all the other comedy movies, you do have that guy in it, and that's actually, and he's known, but it feels like those cameos felt like they should have added more to the movie. Like, I mean, I rewatched it again and again. It's more of an A- because I want more out of that movie. And I was like, this could have been a 3-hour movie. This would have been a great 3-hour movie, but 2 hours and 12 minutes, a little like it's not enough for me to, to look at that and say, hey. This feels like a movie. It is a movie, but it would have been way more of a masterpiece if they extend the runtime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see the Fat Bernie's commercial in the movie. I want to see Benny Safdie talk more about politics and everything. I was like, give me more of that. But yeah, I saw those two. I watched Paint today. Paint was amazing. I loved it. Get on the lookout for a review. That's gonna come up tomorrow. If I don't.
Paint is the movie with Owen Wilson where he plays fictional Bob Ross. He's not technically Bob Ross.
Yeah. Owen Wilson is incredible as the fake Bob Ross or Carl. His name's Carl. Plays Carl.
Carl Ross? Really?
No. Let me look this up real quick because my phone is like charging. Carl Nargle. And he is incredible. And I think that his performance is amazing. Stephen Root is great. It's funny as hell. It's fast paced. The only issues I have with the movie where they go to flashbacks and it says 22 years ago and Owen Wilson looks the same. Like he looks the same. And I'm like, that was 22 years ago. You should be at least like change looks, I guess.
That's annoying. I hate that. I hate that so much when the characters look the same.
Do I think Owen Wilson's gonna get an Oscar nomination? I would love for that to happen. I would love that to happen. That's how good it is. Like Golden Globes for Best Comedy Actor, that's a safe one. He's gonna be nominated because that is a great film. It's got what the fuck? Oh fuck! It's got a 24% Rotten Tomatoes. What the fuck?
Don't even pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes. Don't. Mm-mm.
Oh my god! What? Why? It was sitting at a 90%. What the fuck?
But that's pretty much it, Anthony. That's all you've seen.
No. No. Oh, Super Mario Brothers. I actually liked it a lot. Rotten Tomatoes, you can kiss my ass because
Don't pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes for your mental health.
Hashtag abolish Rotten Tomatoes.
You know, I need to like actually write for Rotten Tomatoes to kind of even out the score because I'm just like, bruh, like these people don't know anything.
How the fuck?
Or we just need to have Letterboxd overtake Rotten Tomatoes.
I hope, yeah, because Letterboxd is actually like, you know, I think they gives fairer scores or at least more realistic scores. You know,
I agree with that, Megan. This is why I'm on Letterboxd like constantly, and I'm doing an entire series like around the whole Letterboxd 250. Not trying to self plug on the own podcast, but it's. I think what I love most about Letterboxd is that you can give like it's a 1 out of 5 range, but you can also heart things. Because I've hearted things like that I've given 1 stars to. Because a movie can be 1 star, but you can also like it.
Exactly, like a perfect example, The Room. I love The Room, but it's a 1-star movie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. But Anthony, is there anything else you've been watching besides Pete?
So I got a chance to rewatch I got a chance to watch Dungeons and Dragons. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. But with Paint, I am gonna put Paint on my top 10. I don't care. I don't care. Owen Wilson playing Bob Ross is the best thing in my life. I need
fictional
that.
Bob Ross. Fictional
Bob Ross. Titty Ross, whatever Ross it is. I don't care. He actually did a great job. I love Rebel Without a Cause. I saw that with my girlfriend before she left for Georgia again. We both loved the movie. Dungeons and Dragons, she didn't like the movie. I liked it more than her. And it's similar to Knock at the Cabin. She didn't like that movie at all. She thought it was shit. What else was another one? I saw pretty much that Air. I was gonna go see Air yesterday, but on Tuesday. But lately I am. Damn mosquitoes. I haven't got the time to talk about this because I don't know how this. I don't know. It's gonna be sad, but I'm done going to free screenings now.
Aww.
Lately with the past 4 movies, they have been roping off seats. These agents have been roping off seats for the front row, meaning that anyone who won the tickets off of a website, now they've been only letting us sit close to the screen. And
so,
I don't know
why
you like that. I don't know why
I like how you. I'm going to use this as a perfect segue to talk about what I've been watching. So I'm going to start off by saying this morning that I watched Super Mario Brothers movie. Mario is fine. I'm just going to say that. But I have beef. I posted on Instagram. I like to reserve my tickets in advance. So I can find out where everyone's sitting. I can scope out and sit away from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. When I walk in right when the trailers are starting. Just be respectful, not when I see the opening credits. Lord and behold, I see someone in the front row where I reserved. I sit in the front row all the time. I'm a front row peep, front row for life. There's someone sitting right next to me. So that means when they were reserving their tickets or they bought it at the box office, they saw a grayed out seat and they're like, I'm going to sit right there.
Oh, man, that sucks.
So I was just like, okay. So the entire time I was just like, okay, so I'm just going to sit behind him because it looks like I looked at the app. I pulled out my phone. I looked at reserved my seats again because I didn't want to buy it. I just wanted to see if row B, the seat row behind him, had anyone in there. So there wasn't anyone in there. But the entire time when these trailers were playing during the Mario movie, I was like having a panic attack. Like, what if someone comes in like super late and they sit down and they're like, oh, those are our seats. And I'm like,
yeah.
So I was having a panic attack throughout these entire trailers, and just like it was just a lot. It was just a lot. The Mario movie's great. Everyone should go see it. It's it's Mario. If you're not, I don't understand why people are giving it bad reviews, because it's like, if you're going into a Mario movie expecting something different, or you're not a Nintendo fan, then what are you even doing? What are
You know what?
even
That's how
doing?
I feel about people already kind of shitting on the Barbie movie. I'm like, yo, have you ever seen like the direct to VHS Barbie movies? They're all terrible, but that's what makes them amazing.
Right. But yeah, that was my rant. Front row for life. I will always be front row, because I don't want to see.
I'm still confused because I was waiting to hear the punchline of like, did someone talk during the movie or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, no, I just
Which
don't
we
like
all
seeing
hate.
anyone's. I like sitting in the front row because I don't want to see anyone's heads. I don't want someone to pull out their phone and I see like a flash of light.
Stick 'em in the face.
I'd rather just be me
what I
and the
do.
screen. Me and the screen. It's a relationship between me and the movie for 2 hours or 2 hours and a half, and yeah, like that's just it. I don't want to see anyone else. That's just me.
Fun. That's
Yeah.
good for me. I'm kind of more like, if I'm going with like a group of people, well, not a group, if I'm going like a one other person, it's usually like, I would say like I'm kind of more of like a backside row person, because I'm like, look, I want to see the screen, but also I'm like, okay, I want to like, I don't want to like jump over people. But if it's
Mhm.
kind of like, stadium seating style, I usually like towards the middle, but like in the way front, when like the cages are kind of, if you know what I'm talking about, like the
With the
like
bar?
middle. The
You like
bar,
the
yes.
bar?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bar.
The
I love
bar.
that. I love that.
If you can get stadium seating with the bar, like that's the best, and you can put your feet up and just have like a good time.
It's
But
good.
yeah,
That's my personal favorite, actually. That's my personal favorite. But
let us know in the
yeah,
comments down below where you like sitting. If you're
On
a
the
front row
top.
gang, give us F's in the chat. I guess I could do that. But front
Yeah.
row gang, F's in the chat. And if you're I don't know what you
middle
would
row
call.
M's, and then if you are back row B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing: if the movie is like, if the theater's empty, I'm like, regardless, I like sitting in the back row, because I'm just like, okay, all to myself. But sometimes I like sitting in the middle too. But I don't know. I always have like this thing of just like, I don't know. I just kind of feels a little bit obnoxious too. Like if like one person walks in, because when I went to see Scream 6, I was the only person at the theater. So it's like, oh, perfect. I'll have the back row. I'll do this. And then someone walks in. I'm like, damn it. Like, I don't have my space.
Right. But yeah, let us know where you like sitting. Another movie I watched this week. I had the pleasure of watching Mafia Mama for before anyone else. Mafia Mama is in theaters April 14th.
Oh.
It stars Toni Collette, and it's basically a mob movie where Toni Collette is she's like a working mom, and then she gets called to Italy to like run her father's like mob.
That is so fun.
To be honest, it was part of Regal's Mystery Movie Monday, and they just surprised us with like, hey, this movie's out in 2 weeks, so enjoy. And I generally had a really good time.
That's good. I love Toni Collette.
Yeah, it's like Toni Collette is carrying this movie like on her shoulders, and she does it successfully. And it actually has some really interesting things to say about like about women in like male dominated like work environments, and like how they have to like operate. It has a lot to say about that, and just like gender roles. I don't know. It's really good. If
that
you like
sounds
Toni,
good. I'll put it on my list. I love Toni Collette.
Yeah, if you like Toni Collette, check it out. It's out in theaters nationwide April 14th. And Regal, if you want me to see movies early again, hit me up at Marley Loves Film.
Don't hit the guy up.
Yeah.
You give him passes for Fast 10, it's gonna go bad.
Well, but yeah. Other than Mafia Mama, I also watched this movie late at night. If anyone's looking at the outline that I sent you, I watched a movie called Kung Pao Enter the Fist. And I think I need therapy after. Like, I'm talking to the audience right now. I think I need therapy. Like, like, this movie, you can stream it right now on Amazon Prime. It is if anyone remembers like the old like Godzilla movies, like with the
Oh,
bad
definitely.
dubbing, and like the kung fu movies that with the bad dubbing, think about like the writer director Stephen. I forget his last name because I blanked like this movie out after I saw it. But it's basically an homage to like those old kung fu movies where he inserts himself into random like kung fu. It's it's really hard to describe because you have to watch this. I live tweeted this, like I live tweeted this late at night, and I don't even know what I watched. There's a fighting cow in it. There's a baby that fights fights someone and pees on. It's real. It's so bizarre. So if you are, I don't want to say this on YouTube just because we might get banned. But let's just say if you are inebriated in any way, check it out on Amazon. You can rent it for $3.79. I don't know why $3.79, but it's an interesting time. It's educational, and that's Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
It's educational.
But
anyways, that's all that we've been watching.
I was gonna finish up the issue with that. So, yeah, apparently they roped off middle and the back rows for some stupid media, and lately, we only have 2 rows for press.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they have to rope off everything. So they've done this with Creed 3. I didn't want to watch Creed 3 next to Scream. They did this with Shazam 2, and I walked out and went to go see Scream 6 instead. They did this with Champions for a Community, which I have nothing against special disability and all that, because this is coming from someone who has a disability. I just think that in my opinion, it would have been great to have 2 separate screenings, one for the disabilities and one for the press and public.
Oh,
God,
Megan,
we'll switch.
you back?
Yeah, I was
Megan,
saying.
You back?
I'm good.
Okay.
I was saying
that was weird.
It was
that was really weird. What happened?
I don't know.
You
I didn't
back?
touch anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was saying, in my personal opinion, it would be great to have 2 separate screenings, one for the community and one for press and public.
You know what? That's actually pretty fair, because sometimes too, I've never been in any of this press screenings or anything, but that's something that I want to do and everything. So I'm just if I was to actually make do a review or something, I want it to be quiet. I don't want to hear anyone talking at the screen, all that stuff. I want to just focus on that, because I agree with you completely.
Yeah, this isn't an attack against anybody with a disability, like Down syndrome, all that. This isn't a shade at them. It just feels like people with special disabilities, that want to go see this movie. If you're really promoting the movie before it comes out, have a separate screening for it. Because you have so many people that want to see the movie too, and there's nothing wrong with integrating both together, but you also have then you're gonna have people talking, and sometimes they can't help it, because it's part of the it's their disability, but that's why you have the separate screening for it.
But even if you don't have a disability, there's people that are able and they talk during movies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. I like your idea of having a community one and then a press one. That's awesome. And then you won't have to even worry about the whole roping off thing either.
Yeah.
See, this is why the AMC sightline actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But yeah, they've been doing this with other screenings, and when they did that to Air, I was like, fuck it, I'm not sitting next to the screen to watch Air Jordan's on the fucking next to the screen. So I was like, I'm done. I've thought about complaining it to the agents, and if hopefully Renfield, I'm seeing Renfield on Tuesday. If by any chance these bitches go out of nowhere and fucking rope off the seats, I'm gonna cuss them out. I'm gonna fucking curse them out. I'm gonna yell at their fucking face and say, why the fuck are you roping off so many roles? Why do you keep doing this? These people want to watch the movie. Some people just don't feel comfortable watching it next to the screen. I personally don't feel comfortable watching a movie next to the screen because I do have headaches.
Yeah,
Like,
same
I,
here.
I do have like migraines watching a movie close to the screen, and I just can't do it. Like if I sit a movie like right there, my eyes will get very like sickening. Like my eyes will be like a bit of a. I'll probably almost like lose focus. It's kind of like It's
Right.
kind of like sitting close to the TV. It's not really healthy to sit next to the TV, like close to the TV, like this. It's not healthy because I mean I don't know if it's true or not, but they say that if you look closely to the TV, you can get blind.
I don't know about that, but like
Yeah, I don't know
but you
about
don't,
that.
but you do get like headaches and stuff because I don't even remember the last time I watched a movie close to the screen. Probably like when I was in elementary school, but like I could barely do 3D movies actually. Like that's how bad it is sometimes, you know.
I blame
But
Jim
Right.
Carrey, the Cable Guy, for this. It was the Cable Guy's fault. When I was watching the movie The Cable Guy, there was a scene where young Jim Carrey's watching the TV, and this one woman says, "You're gonna get blind if you keep staring at the TV." I'm like, "Fucking Cable Guy! God damn it! I blame the Cable Guy movie for this shit."
What a Anthony. I'll just leave you for just the really odd references of just 90s to 90s movies.
Yeah,
I had no idea that on the podcast we're going to be talking about Jim Carrey's The Cable Guy. But
yeah, but like I said, I don't like to watch movies next to the screen. I don't mind the middle row. I really don't mind the middle row. You know, like the lower middle. I don't
Yeah.
mind that. Like I really don't. I don't mind that at all. Well, I think it's that. I heard my ears echoing. It's this. I don't mind watching in the middle row or the back row, but when it comes to close to beyond disabled seats, no, I can't.
But anyways, that's all that we've been watching recently.
Yep, that's all.
And
That's pretty much it.
That's all we've been watching. So let's get into our featured review of Little Women. All right.
Woo.
Anthony, you know the drill. I'm just gonna count us back in, and then I'll read the synopsis, and we'll get into this review.
All right, man, that sounds good.
Okay, so counting us in 3, 2, 1. That was from a trailer from Little Women. Sorry. I always screw that up. I don't think I've ever come back from like a break from that and ever gotten it right the first time. So Megan, you got to experience that for the live and in person. Okay. So I was kind of saying again. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. That was a clip from the trailer from Little Women, a film directed by Greta Gerwig in 2019. I'm just going to read the synopsis here from IMDb. Jo March reflects back and forth on her life, telling the beloved story of the March sisters, 4 young women each determined to live life on their own terms. Megan, when I told you I was doing this series, the Letterboxd Top 250, this movie jumped out at you immediately. This is a rewatch for you. So I feel like you are the perfect person to kind of lead off and talk about this film. What about Little Women? Well, I think this is actually kind of perfect that we're talking about this because the Barbie trailer just came out like this week, and we're talking about a Greta Gerwig film. So this is great for like SEO and stuff like that. But what about Greta Gerwig and Little Women like made you like fall in love with this movie?
Yeah, so I watched Little Women actually I watched it in theaters in 2019. And one thing that I really liked about the movie is that it felt very modern, even though it's a story that's been told multiple times that takes place during the Civil War. But there was still like, I don't know whether it was like the cast or how it was directed, and it just felt like new. I usually don't really like too many historical films. Like that's just kind of like, well, I would say like I don't really like films that are like, I'm fine with like 20th century films, that takes place in that, like that type of period pieces, but I'm not like, okay, 1800s, 1700s, like it, there has to be something kind of fresh with it. But I
Mm-hmm.
really like how this one still stayed true to a certain extent to the adaptation, but also added a modern spin. And one thing that I really liked too is for Joe's character, they actually took elements of the writer of Little Women's life. I forgot her name, but yeah, the actual like writer. So it was kind of cool. So that's why I really enjoyed it. I really liked the movie Lady Bird. Yeah, another Saoirse Ronan film, or starring films, and also Timothy Chalamet is in this one too, or is Lady Bird. So I was just like, oh, I'm really excited about Greta Gerwig's second film, and she's doing an adaptation. So I thought it was really interesting. And then as for Greta Gerwig's work too as an actress, I really like the film Frances Ha. So yeah, I thought it was really cool because I really liked that movie, and yeah, I just thought this film did a really great job. Yeah.
Yeah, agree with you 100%. Like, I'm not really one for period piece movies like all that much. I find them kind of cheesy. But watching this, like we talked about this in the pre-show, is that is that what I liked most about Little Women, especially in this series, is that it's nice watching a movie that is so like modern. It's so modern, even though the story that it's telling is old. But like the story is about four young women that is just going through. They're going through life like post Civil War and kind of trying to survive, and it, it's nice. It's nice seeing like a story about like young women that it deals with romance, but you don't. It's all romance on their own terms. You see what I'm saying? It's not like the men are being forced upon them. It's all on their own choice. I'm not really the biggest fan of nonlinear storylines, so I had to take a lot of notes actually to kind of like tell what's going on. But like the thing that was able to help me kind of follow like this non-linear storyline of what Joe is actually like telling is the cinematography, like the way the lighting would change of like I believe like the start of this film they show 7 years earlier only
Yeah.
once, and then after that it's all color based, which
Yeah.
is a brilliant storytelling like technique by Greta Gerwig, and I don't know, I love this film so much.
Yeah, it's really good. And okay, just kind of going back to, so the writer of Little Women, like the actual like writer of the novel is Louisa May Alcott. So yeah, they took some elements of Louisa May Alcott's life to add it towards like Joe's character for this one when it comes to her like writing journey and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. Have a little bit of historical context as well. So it's not only kind of like a Little Women adaptation, but it's also a semi biographical film, about the writer. So I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, Anthony, what did you think of Little Women?
So I don't have a lot of time because at a couple minutes, like around like after 10 minutes, I gotta go to sleep and whatnot because I gotta get up real early. Um, what I thought about Little Women was that it was really intriguing. I would say that it's not better than Lady Bird. I think to me, Lady Bird is always going to be Greta Gerwig's best film because Lady Bird had a very beautiful coming of age story, and it's just beautiful. Whereas Little Women is a good movie. All the performances are incredible. It's not a surprise that Saoirse Ronan was going to be in it, and Timothy Chalamet and Lois Smith, who I would say she was in Lady Bird as the priest, or whatever the principal nun or whatever it is. It's no surprise that she was going to be back in it. I mean, that's Greta Gerwig. She casts her friends. It's always that. But Bob Odenkirk was in it, so that's awesome. Uh, I like to see Saul Goodman in it. Timothy Chalamet, I don't think I would say he sold me as the boyfriend guy. I would say he sold me. I know some people will be like he's miscast. that's fair. All the performances are great. Saoirse Ronan is amazing as Joe Mach. Um, she is giving a great performance, and it was worth the nomination. Greta Gerwig did a great job directing the movie. She was great. It is a bummer that she was snubbed for director,
Yeah.
but you got to look at it this way: the 2019 was a very tough year for directing.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with being a female. It's got nothing to do with that. And I'm sick and tired of like always gotta, they always play that card. It has nothing to do with that. It's about how many directors put a lot of films out there. It's hard to make that.
It's a numbers game, really.
Yeah, it's hard to select the five. It's hard to select the five. I mean, I would have taken, if it were me, I would have taken Sam Mendes out of that list and put Greta Gerwig on it. But
yes,
but if it were my top five, I wouldn't even put Greta Gerwig. I would have taken Sam Mendes out and take Martin Scorsese out of the list and replace those two with Robert Eager's Lighthouse and the Safdie brothers for Uncut Gems.
But what's so crazy though? But those are like going to be like snubbed films, because like I thought Uncut Gems would have gotten nominated for something, but they didn't. I was so pissed. But like, and then also, of course, they're not going. Well, they only nominated Lighthouse for I think cinematography.
Yeah.
But it's just like, yeah. But overall, 2019 is one of my favorite years for film, like hands down. So like, and that was a tough year, 2019. So
yeah, it's definitely a tough year. But let's get back to Little Women.
The
starring show.
This is gorgeous looking. It is a very gorgeous looking movie. I love the storyline of Florence Pugh and Saoirse Ronan. They both get along real well. I love the constant arguments. You feel a lot for Saoirse Ronan because she wants to feel validated. She wants to feel like she's already gone so far in life where she wants her success out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vibe I'm getting out of that movie, is that Saoirse Ronan's character is basically, saying, hey, I feel like, I want to be happy. And I want people to be happy, but I want people to acknowledge their problems. I want people to prepare for the reality that things just don't come to light. And, you see the characters in the film that don't fuck with that energy. I think there are moments where you could tell that, Emma Watson is like, fuck off, let me do my life. Mm-hmm. Or like, Florence Pugh, I love that her character can sometimes feel denial or whatever. She feels like she's gonna find that one true love, but that true love is not who, that true love will not have the same level, the same energy, the same thing in common. Like, that's what I like about this movie.
Well, I think what's important to like get from Little Women is that the bond of sisterhood is strong, and that's what I got. It's like I know I make it like pretty apparent that I'm a big fan of family films, like on social media. But this is like when it all comes down to it, it's a film about good family relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And like not necessarily like it's not necessarily like a completely positive like experience, but it's the negative experiences that like these women and this family like go through that make them stronger and make them have like a positive like experience amongst each other. Like they may have points like in this film where they're like fighting back and forth as like a family, but because they're fighting makes them stronger individually and stronger together. That's what I got from it. It's just that's what
I got too. Like one thing that I like about this adaptation is that the chemistry was like there. Yeah, not everyone has like the family resemblance in the casting. However, they had like such a bond, And one of the scenes, like I don't know, can we get into spoilers? Well, it's not really a spoiler, but it kind of is. I don't know.
Let's wait a few minutes and then we'll get into spoilers.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. But there's this one scene that I have in mind that just really kind of shows that bond really well. And between the sisters, that's like really drawing. But like, yeah, like there's just really great moments of that. And you're just like, okay, I feel the love that they have for each other. And even looking at like cast photos and stuff, like on set photos, because I think they didn't allow phones during production. but someone was there for like, you know, just taking pictures of them like on their lunch break eating McDonald's or whatever. But you could see like there was still camaraderie, and they had to take like and actually a big chunk of the class had to take a drama class too. Before going into the production of the film, so I think that actually helped with that bond as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree, and I didn't even know that behind the scenes like fact about this movie. That's really cool that they didn't, or that they weren't allowed phones like on set to just kind of keep up with the time period. But let's get into a little bit of a breakdown of Little Women. Let's talk about like the opening scene where Jo March is in New York City and she's trying to sell her story to this publisher. And I think what kind of struck me, like that kind of hit me like really hard, like all of a sudden, is like the sound being used, like in this scene where like I think we've all been there when someone is reading like one of our stories, and when they're turning the pages, the sound is like grip, like it's just rattling in your head, where it's just like you obviously know it's not going very great, but I feel like like this scene illustrates that perfectly. But what did you think, Megan?
Oh yeah, no, I agree too. Like I think that scene is amazing, and that's kind of like one of the parts that's very similar to Louisa May Alcott's journey. Is she kept pitching her story so much, and she kept feeling like rejected. So that's kind of like some element from, you know, real life and kind of going into Joe's life. But yeah, like what you said too, like when someone's reading through your work, you're kind of have that like you're feeling nervous, and you know, like I work a job where I have to like pitch things a lot too, so like I understand that experience.
Right. Yeah, totally. But Anthony, what you think of like that opening scene?
That was a pretty decent opening scene, I gotta say. I really thought that it added up a lot to it. I don't know. I mean, I saw Little Women twice. I mean, I saw it at a screening very early, and then I saw it the day before I went to go see Rise of Skywalker opening night. My best way to describe Little Women, I mean, because I do gotta go back to sleep I do gotta go to sleep in a few minutes. They have me calling in to work at like 10 a.m. and I'm gonna be there from 10 to 8 tomorrow, which is stupid. Um, but yeah, the opening scene is it's so good. Like I feel like it's different from Lady Bird, and hopefully Barbie follows that same opening as Little Women. I want that opening. I want that same opening style. I do think that the movie, to me, like I think it's way too long. I do think that the pacing drags a bit in the movie, and sometimes some linear moments they don't always work. But I mean,
that's where I kind of disagree with you a little bit. Is that I would like with most films I would say like that are 2 hours and 15 minutes long. I would say are too long. But the way that this movie keeps you attention with the constant cutting back and forth between 7 years earlier and like her present or 7 years it's earlier, right?
Yeah, it was 7 years earlier than the day in the universe. Yeah.
Yeah, and it constantly keeps cutting back. Kind of it adds like a lot of tension, and also just like it keeps me engaged, especially like the way it keeps like changing up the color scheme and stuff like that. It's keeping things like interesting, and also like having like that style makes it a lot more modern, like you said, Megan. Like this is a very modern retelling of Little Women. But yeah. But yeah, moving on, like the film then jumps back into the March sisterhood childhood, where they are shown playing and having fun, and like I feel like this is just like I grew up with I pretty much like an only child. I've only had like an older brother. I never really had like the sisterhood bond. Like I never had like older sisters, but I had a lot of friends that kind of like had like multiple sisters, and like the way they're playing in like the scene is like it's totally like like it's totally like how I imagined. Like Megan, like are you like? Did this kind of ring home to you? Or
to a certain extent. So I'm an only child.
Mhm.
However, I grew up doing dance and cheer, but mostly like with my dance troupe that I like grew up with, and we were, and I was a part of like a dance team and whatnot. Well, not really a dance team, but like within my studio, they kind of had like a little dance team. And one great thing, like, since they're like getting ready for the party and stuff, that actually kind of reminds me of like backstage trying to get ready. And of course, a nightmare will be like burning your hair off, and like, and I've had like experiences like that too, just in my own like personal familiar life too, because I'm really close. Even though I'm only child, I'm really close to my cousins, and like I'm really close with my mom. So like that actually kind of reminded me of a time. Well, I never burned my hair off, but that reminds me of a time where she was helping me get ready for homecoming, and ended up accidentally burning like the top of my forehead. So I had to give myself bangs. So it wouldn't even, because I had a big old burn on my head. But yeah, that scene, with Meg's hair burning off, that actually reminded me a lot. But yeah, like that kind of set everything up. And one great thing too that I noticed is, I'd even noticed like back in 2019, well, because that was kind of when I was reintroduced to Florence Pugh, or at least introduced to her as an actress, because I only saw her from Midsummer. And then I was like, oh shoot, she has some range. But like looking back, like right now watching it, I'm just like, man, like Florence Pugh played a 12-year-old so well, even though she was like 22 or like 23 at the time of this like filming. I'm just like, dude, what? Like how she's like moves around and stuff. I'm like, that is so weird to look at. But like she de-aged herself by her acting. Like I thought, that was a scene. I'm just like that scene in the following scene, flashback scene. I was just like, man.
I think this podcast is just going to turn into the like Florence Pugh podcast now, just because she is so great in this film. Just because the way she transforms pretty much in not just this role, but pretty much any role that she's in. It's like it's a testament to like method acting, but she's not method acting. It's like it's like she's so authentic in pretty much every role that she takes, and I think that's like a huge testament to like the way she's reading scripts and the way she's picking out characters of like of like who to play. It's not like she's like, oh, I'm gonna like be method and just pick like the wildest and most craziest like performance. She's actually like liking the script, and she's liking the story, and she's being this character, which is what I love. But yeah, let's move on a little bit into spoilers. Megan, you said you wanted to like mention a scene from Little Women about that's kind of a spoiler, so let's move into that.
Yeah, kind of a spoiler. So yeah, going back to Florence Pugh, and also Florence Pugh's Saoirse Ronan's performances as Joe and Amy. Like there's a scene where Joe is a writer, that's her passion, and she's writing a novel, and she wants to go out with her sister Meg, played by Emma Watson. So they go out with like the boys, so they go out and stuff. But of course, Amy, being the like little sister, the jealous little sister, she's like, look, I'm trying to hurt you, Joe. So what I'm gonna do is burn the novel. So of course, like Joe gets like really upset when she comes back home at the end of the night, can't find her novel, finds out that Amy burned it and stuff. So they like legit get into like a fight. But then the following day, she goes ice skating with Lori, which is played by Timothy Chalamet. And of course, Amy, she wants to follow them, and she gets she like has a near-death experience. She falls inside the ice, So that's like the moment where it's kind of like, oh, like, well, with Joe, she's like, oh shoot, I gotta save my sister. I almost lost her, even though I was like really pissed off at her and said that I hated her the night before. Like, I have to save her. So that was like the moment that like showed their sisterly bond. Yeah, we fight. Yeah, we would hate each other, but like, hey, I still love you because I don't want to lose you. So
exactly. Like I love that scene so much, just because like even if it's like sisterhood, brotherhood, it's like even if you're having like a argument with like your mom or dad, if you see like a member of your family like in trouble, like everything, you throw everything out the window and you're just like, it's all it. Like I hate to quote like a certain bald-headed actor during our discussion of Little Women, but it's all about family. It's all about
Yeah.
family. It's a it's it I hate to give him credit, but it's totally true, and like I think that scene like totally it totally is like a beautiful scene because exactly what you described. Another scene that I really loved too. I DM'd you when I was watching this.
Mhm.
Like it was when it's Amy, right? That's Florence Pugh's character.
Yeah.
I'm really bad with characters, so I'm always have to.
Yeah, same here.
But Amy is hanging out with the Lori,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And Amy is she's the artistic one, like in the family, so she's really good at drawing, and I think I just like this scene because it's just funny from Timothy Chalamet, where
Yeah.
he basically he wants Amy to Amy to draw her, and like have and I remember I sent you a DM. I was like, "Did Timothy Chalamet just have like a draw me like one of your French girls moment?"
Yeah, and yes, it's so funny. So this is like what happens in the future. So this is 7 years later. So yeah, Amy is studying in Paris, or not studying, but she's like just spending time in Paris. She has opportunity to spend time with her, played by Meryl Streep. I almost forgot she was in this movie, played by Meryl Streep. But yeah, Amy is like, hey, look, I'm trying to find a husband. I'm trying to study art, like that type of stuff. Like I want to, because that's her passion. She wants to be an artist, but then she sees Laurie, who is the guy that she had a crush on from childhood and stuff. So they're having, I love that scene between them too. And that's kind of like the scene that I realized I'm like, dang, Florence Pugh has range. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's where like really settled, because like what I said before, I only saw her from Midsummer previously. And then I was just like, oh shoot, like she really can act.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's
But
she's like I said, she's so good. She's so good in this movie. Another person that I really liked in this movie is I believe the mom, Laura Dern.
yes.
Laura
Yes.
Dern. There's a scene, since we're in spoilers now, I can like actually talk about it. But the
Mhm.
what's the character's name? The one
Yeah.
the one that's sick.
Beth.
Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beth. Yeah, thank you.
Hmm.
Beth. Like, uh, since we're in spoilers, I'll reveal that like she unfortunately like passes away. But the scene when Greta Gerwig is basically cutting back between both of them, and
Hmm.
the way they reveal that with Laura Dern
Yes.
is like I started tearing up. Like
Yes.
it's absolutely incredible. The Laura Dern, the best crier in film history, I would say.
Yes.
But
Uh-huh.
it's like that scene is so crucial because it's like when you see characters that are supposed to be like on screen but they're not there, it hits you harder.
Yeah.
It hits you harder.
Yeah, and I like the like that was the moment that I like the juxtaposition between like the present, quote unquote present day, and the flashbacks, because like, well, that wasn't really it was actually a flashback within the flashback, but I did like that because it's like you get a moment with Joe, who's like she's with Beth and stuff, and she's just like trying to figure, actually, yeah, it is present day, but yeah, she's with Beth and trying to like figure things out and just like trying to make her feel better because she has scarlet fever.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets revealed that she's had a scarlet fever in the past, and then it recently came back. So they talk about her having scarlet fever and beating it, but you're not really sure. So so she's like laying in bed next to her, trying to comfort her, be by her side, because she doesn't know if she's going to wake up from scarlet fever and whatnot. So you see her like away from the bed, and that's when Joe initially like freaks out. She's like, oh my gosh, she passed away. And then, and this is all with the flashback, and then it's Christmas morning, so they have like a good Christmas and all that stuff, and it's a beautiful scene with the family, like everyone's there and all that. But then you go back to the present where Beth actually dies from scarlet fever and stuff, and she sees Laura Dern's character Marmee and stuff, and yeah, it's just so heartbreaking. But I thought, like, the back-to-back juxtaposition of like the joy and then the heartbreak, and then like the reunion with like the father, and then the funeral, like I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it.
Exactly. And just the way like the way you describe that is absolutely perfect. It's better than I could ever do that. But the way like they're cutting back and forth kind of reminds, it's a totally different film, but I have to give props to this film as well. But the way Everything Everywhere All at Once kind of cuts back and forth between like positive, negative, neutral, and just kind of gives you, and ends up being sad like at the very end, and hits you over the head, is just like Little Women and Everything Everywhere All at Once is basically it's filmmaking wrapped up like with a bow. It's like this is cinema. This is cinema.
Exactly. And what's really interesting, and I just noticed this too, about even the pacing of the film. So you see a lot of like back and forth, but it's kind of steady. But for like that scene in particular, that's when you kind of see like back, forth, and it's just like all the scenes kind of meld together, but still tells a cohesive story. And then when the film kind of progresses, you kind of get more of their adult life and how they're kind of going through their experiences as like women. So it's like, and for instance, like Meg, she's married, but like, she's going through financial stuff. Like Amy, she's trying to find a husband, but she's trying to debate if like she wants a husband out of necessity or she actually wants to follow her career passions. And then Joe is like, look, I don't want to get married, but I do have a crush on this one guy, type of thing. And
right,
like all this stuff, like it is like, it's really interesting. And then, of course, like with Beth going through her health things, and she's basically like, look, I feel like I'm gonna die. I've accepted this. Let's just enjoy this time together. Like, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna cry. Okay, let me stop. Let's move on.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
It's fine.
No, but it's making me cry just like hearing this all over again. This is like it's such good stuff. Like to be honest. Is there any, to kind of move on to like a little bit to the characters of this film, is there any characters that kind of reminded you of yourself? Like
I would say like overall Joe has reminded me most of myself too, but just I guess because like I'm passionate about like writing to a certain extent, but I'm also kind of like, I mean, she's very more so like, oh man, I don't need a man. Like it's more like, I want to be independent and stuff like that, and kind of feeling like that. But like for me, that's kind of where I fall into like, the Amy thing. Like she wants love, but also but she's kind of more so like love out of necessity. And she kind of has to, and so kind of going back to the scene that she has with Timothy Chalamet and the, when she's painting and stuff, she talks about like, okay, women in society nowadays, like she's very self-aware. She's just kind of like, everything that is mine is going to be to my husband. So I have to be really mindful of this stuff. But then like, she's now but she has to kind of break out of the mold. She's like, you know what? No, I can't fall in love with someone and actually for them to respect me as a person, kind of be on an even kill, even though society doesn't necessarily tell you that, so I mean, at the end of the day, so okay, to answer your question, yeah, more so Joe, for sure, but it's just like, I don't know, I kind of like see little bits and pieces of myself in almost everyone to kind of think about it, I guess for the exception of like Beth, but to a certain extent also too with Beth, because like I mean a couple of years ago, or not a couple of years ago, like a few years ago, I was back in like, yeah, but I had like a really bad health scare that I thought I was like going to die actually a few years ago.
Oh.
So, like, I guess in this certain extent about like the whole like acceptance of, you know, dealing with illness and stuff, that's kind of where I relate to a certain extent, like, you know, going through that type of stuff. So yeah, I find myself in all the characters to a certain extent. Even like with Meg too, like she just wants to have like a fun time. Like I would say too, I relate to Meg other than just like the namesake, but I relate to Meg for like you know, the scene where she goes to the debutante ball and she just wants to be like girly and fun, and then Lori is being a dick and he's just like, oh well, this is not you. And like sometimes I was just like, you know, and then Meg was like, you know what, you're being mean. I wanted to just have a fun night, just being girly and whatever and acting like rich, you know, even though I'm not. And I have had those bougie moments too. Like I was with Nick on that. I'm like, look, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have a good time. Like,
Right.
that was a long answer, but yeah, I see myself in everyone to a certain extent.
Right. I think as I don't know. I think watching it, I don't want to say that I saw myself in Lori, but I think that was like at 16, that was totally me. Like I was totally a Lori. Like especially the scene at the end when Lori and Joe, like Joe and Lori kind of, I wouldn't call it a confession. Like you know what scene I'm talking about? Like when they're on the hill, and and Laurie is basically like confessing his love to Joe and saying that I loved you more, and like I've always loved you, and then and Joe is basically saying like, she's like, oh, I don't need a man to like tie me down, and she wants to focus on her writing. Like I've been there before, and I've been rejected like that, and it felt a little bit too close to home when that happened. But it's I understand that Laurie can be a little bit invasive, and I was never that invasive as he was. And also, I thought the way Laurie was like, he goes up to Joe, confesses his love to her, and he gets rejected, and then goes immediately to his sister.
Yeah,
it's so messed up. It's kind
of, but also at the same time, like, yeah, it is really messed up. And I'm glad, like, at least like Amy and this, I don't know if she doesn't in like the original like story, but at least at Amy, she's like, look, I've always been like second to Joe, which is so funny because Joe back in 7 years prior thought that Amy was the one that everyone cared about more. Anthony, did you have to say anything? Because we kind of skipped over you.
I know.
No. I actually wanted to hear more about what you guys were saying before I go, but yeah, no, what you said was well said. You analyzed it real perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do gotta get going. I wish I could stay a little longer, but I gotta get up for work, man. I really do.
Yeah, no problem. You gotta pay those bills,
Right.
No,
you gotta get that money.
I have 2 more days of Easter Bunny work, and that's about it. It was pretty fun. It was good seeing you again. All 3 of us again. We haven't been on here since the Oscars reaction video.
Right.
That's pretty cool. I think we needed this. But I think I've already said what I have to say about Little Women. I like the movie. It's not perfect, but I love the performances, the production design, costume design, the direction. It's really good, and I can't wait for Greta Gerwig's next film, Barbie.
Yes.
Right. Which it's absolutely like incredible that I'm also kind of mad. Like I know I'll just say it. I'll say it right here on this podcast. I haven't made this public at all. I'm not really the biggest fan of Lady Bird. I don't like Lady Bird. I don't like it. Is it because I live in Sacramento and that film was just oversaturated to hell? And
probably so.
And
that's probably
like
it's local bias.
I remember seeing this film, like there was an opening, there was like a first screening like here in Sacramento because it's set in Sacramento. And I remember watching it, and I was like, "This is solid. but I also didn't like the character of Lady Bird all that much. I kind of found her a little bit disrespectful to her parents. And after watching it a couple more times, I think I have to revisit it to see if I actually do like it. But I don't think it represents Sacramento very well. I think
That's because I feel like you're gonna punch Greta Gerwig in the face every time she talks about Sacramento, isn't it?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. It's just that it. I don't know. I think part of the reason it was just oversaturated and like there's billboards everywhere around here. It's like, oh, Sacramento, see the house, and I'm just like, I'm so over it at this point. I think Little Women is a stronger film, and the fact that Barbie is going to be her third movie is it's kind of insane.
It is so insane, but I'm actually like excited to see what she does with it. Like one thing though is just for the SEO and stuff is that she's one thing I noticed too by looking at just the characters and stuff. She is representing like each character represents a Barbie from a different era. You know, like I pointed out in my review plug that there is a Barbie that is based off of a Barbie that I grew up with, which is Midge from Happy Family, and the costume is like so accurate and everything. And the Emerald Fiddle is playing her, and I was just
oh
like,
yeah,
man.
thanks, man. That was awesome. Oh, sorry to interrupt you, but that was just I wasn't laughing at what you were saying, but that comment I was reading, I was like, ha, wow. That was very uncalled for. That was
let's just ignore that.
Do you know that guy?
No, I don't. I blocked them. So
I didn't. I'm not even looking at the comments.
That was pretty funny. But the comment was basically saying that if the chemistry, it sounds so English. The chemistry sounded way off. That if we were to keep the video going, we would have to sleep with each other. That's what it says. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What kind of comment is that?
Right. Let's move on.
Literally, I have my girlfriend on fucking FaceTime. And I'm like, what? She doesn't need to hear this shit. Oh, yeah. She says hello, by the way.
Oh.
That's so funny. But anyway,
person, you're getting he already blocked you, so don't fuck with family.
Like, what is that even mean?
Don't fuck with family.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck
but
out of here.
But going back to the Barbie movie, yeah, no, I'm just really excited to see how everything is, because even one thing I read, like Michael Cera's character Alan, he's like Ken's friend, and it was like a doll that was really short-lived in 1964. I'm just like, man, they're like throwing it like to everyone. Like I remember like the Mermaid Barbie, you know, played by Dua Lipa, like that was like a 90s, early 2000s thing, you know, like we have you know, the original Barbie, you know, with you know, Margot Robbie's the black and white thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about Barbie too much, but yeah, as a Barbie fan, like not even just like casually playing with dolls, but like afterwards, I was like kind of quasi like a Barbie collector for a little bit when I was like in high school, and like I picked up the Barbie collector's book, so I know like a lot about Barbie. So yeah,
right.
I'm excited for that movie.
Yeah, but as I was saying, I don't hate Greta Gerwig. I just think that where I'm living, she gets hyped up a little bit too much. But
yeah.
But I do love Little Women. I think it's really great. And what did we all rate it on Letterboxd?
On Letterboxd, I rated it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah. I had a 4 out of 5.
I haven't rated mine just yet, but I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5.
Like I was about to give it 4.5, but I was like, I do really like this movie though. But like I okay, I would say kind of going back, I'm like going back between like a 5 out of 5 and a 4 out of 5. But I think like it's just because it's a really good historical film. Like going back to what I said too, but it's just like, because that's the one thing too that I was like, when I first found out that Little Women was getting remade, I was like, I don't know. But then I found out Greta Gerwig was remaking it. I'm like, okay, this should be interesting. And one thing that made it like really interesting for me is like the part where they go to like the first ball and stuff, and Joe can't go to the dance because she burnt her dress and stuff. So she meets Lori for the first time, and then they decide to dance outside, and they do like crazy dancing. I was just like, when they did the crazy dancing, I'm like, that feels like a coming of age like movie, like a modern day coming of age movie with like how they were dancing and stuff. And I was just like, that was really fun. And yeah, I just like it. It feels fresh, and I know probably some of the costumes are not like 100% historically accurate because they do want to make it kind of modern and coming of agey. But I do like the fact that it was that. So I would say, like, for uniqueness and stuff, I would say like, yeah, it's a 5 out of 5. Like, I would say it's one of my favorite like historical movies, and definitely one of my favorite adaptations of a film too. Like, I'm gonna say too, like, I kind of like the modern twist to like older stuff. Like, I love the movie Marie Antoinette. I think that's really fun, even though it's a little bit on the nose. Like, yes, this takes place in the 1700s, but we're gonna add rock and roll music. I think it's a little bit on the nose, but that's why I kind of like it. But this one is like subtle,
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to add like some modern pop songs,
Yeah.
to it.
It's totally subtle, and I really appreciated it for its subtlety and just bringing it into the modern age. But yeah, my final thoughts for Little Women is, I think it's great seeing just women just being women, and like, you don't really, and even like and just like I love like the camaraderie of like sisterhood and like family, the positive like family, like this is like a positive family like relationship, and like this is just how like these women like act together. It may be like a bumpy road like sometimes, but they're gonna get through it. Like no matter what, no matter if there's like a death in the family, they're gonna be there together, and they're gonna boost each other up. But yeah, those are my final thoughts. Megan, Anthony, do you have any final thoughts on Little Women?
Oh yeah, I do have final thoughts. Even though it's very women centric, one great thing that I do like about this movie is that the men have layers to them, and it's not like it's like an uplifting women film without bashing men. It's like when Joe talks about how she doesn't like marriage and stuff, it's not like because of men. She doesn't like how society treats women, so she's not really blaming it on men, and I kind of feel like that's how a lot of like some modern cinema is, that is like, let's just bash one person. Like, no, it's not like that. But yet the conversation is still timely about women's roles in society and having your own bodily autonomy and stuff like that. Like, it's timeless and timely,
And
so that's one thing I really like about it.
to piggyback on what you just said, Anthony, I'll let you go, but I have something to add on what you just said, Megan, is what I love, like what you said about like how it doesn't bash men and how women kind of feel like bad and how they're treated in society. I love that Joe actually kind of goes back. Like, originally she didn't want to be with Lori because she didn't want to be like have the pressure of like being in a relationship. But then when she rejected him, she was like, but why does she feel so lonely? It's like I felt like I'll play that clip if I could find it, but I felt like that scene was so crucial, because it's like I think we've all like been there, where like we have like the pressure from society of wanting to be a relationship and being pushed by society to be with someone, but we don't want to at a certain time. But when we reject that, that's when we ourselves kind of feel like, but it's like it eats away at us. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Anthony, final thoughts on Little Women?
Again, I like the movie. It's fun. It's good. I would watch it again. I have it on Blu-ray for a good reason because I really like the movie a lot. I'd say Greta Gerwig has not failed to make a terrible movie. Even though she's only made 2 movies so far. So, I do wish that she could have got some more recognition for her direction. In terms of the awards buzz, but
Yeah,
competition's a bitch. 2019 was a great year for movies. We had a lot of movies that were snubbed. So, Little Women was a good movie. I like
yeah,
it.
Mhm.
for sure. Megan, one more time, where can people find you if they want to continue the discussion on Little Women or any other movies that you talk about?
Yeah, so find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Megan's World. That is MEAGANZ World. Yeah, and yeah, I'll probably talk more about Little Women. I probably would not, but I don't know. I talk about movies a lot, and this was a great conversation. So I might do a little something.
Right. For sure. All links in the description will be posted below. And Anthony, where can people find you online?
They can find me on Vin Diesel's Dumpster Trash,
Oh
and
my
they can
god.
also find me at xhamster.com and family.com.
Oh my god. Where can they, Anthony? Where could they find you online?
They can find me on TikTok under the same name, Vintage Caban, and I'm on YouTube as well, Vintage Caban as well, and Instagram. I have same username as well. If you guys still want to network and you want to talk to some movie guys, if you want to talk to a couple of people who love movies, all of us are here to talk about movies with you guys. We love talking about movies. Check out Megan's channel. She's a huge lover of film. Marley's also a huge lover of film, and so am I.
For
Um,
sure. For sure.
yeah,
All links will be posted below. You can follow me at Marley Loves Film pretty much everywhere. Wherever you can post TikTok and post or tweet or whatever, I'm probably there talking about movies in some fashion. You can follow this podcast as well on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Real Lovers Pod. Be sure to rate us and subscribe to this podcast anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And stay tuned to what we're going to be watching next week or talking about. And yeah, let's let's just find out what we're going to be watching next week. I'll edit this part out because
a face in the crowd.
I did a solo episode on that one. I didn't like it, to be honest. I didn't like a face in the crowd. But yeah, okay. So next week on the podcast, we're going to be talking about Saving Private Ryan.
Oh.
So yeah,
gonna Save My Private Ryan.
I haven't seen this film since high school, so it's gonna be an interesting ride. I hate to say this, but this is the one movie that has a Fast and Furious actor in it.
Oh,
From the Letterboxd Top 250, a blink and you'll miss it role from Vin Diesel.
you got
But
a
yeah,
family in it.
Yep.
if you want to discuss this movie with us, hit that subscribe button.
I
Be
will.
notified when we're live, and
I have to shave my Private Ryan before joining you on.
Oh my god.
Okay?
I'm done. I'm done.
Bye. No.
But yeah, watch Saving Private Ryan with us and discuss it with us, and
I would love to watch that movie again.
For the Real Lovers podcast, I'm Marley, and then
I'm Megan.
I'm Anthony.
and keep watching movies. See ya. Okay, that was good. I like that one.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah,
Anthony-
if I wasn't too tired, I would totally talk about Little Women again. But I'll probably do it again.
Yeah, I was kind of having to wrap up a little bit because I don't know. It took me a while to get into the recap, so I was kind of
no, you're good.
kinda-
You're good. I'll probably do a quick 30-second review on it. Hey,
Okay,
I watched
sweet.
this, and this is one thing I like about it. You're whatever. Yeah.
Right.
I probably would do
Anthony?
something like that.
I have to say, this podcast, I'm going to be spending 4 hours editing because of your crazy tangents. I should have told you no. You can't join Megan and I, but you're lucky that I'm nice, and I was just like, okay, we'll I'll bring the gang back
You can't
together.
avoid me. You can't avoid me.
But I just want to let you
I
know
thought you were gonna treat me like family. You know, I thought we were family.
we are family. We are
Better
family.
be family, Mr. Toretto. Better be family.
But I liked our discussion. That was a really great discussion on
It is a
Little
great
Women.
discussion. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad you
but-
had it outlined because I would have gone off the rails.
Even it's more off the rails than we already did. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, this podcast I'm gonna edit a face in the crowd that I did by myself. That will be out tomorrow, and then I will have this out next week.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Woo!
Yeah, and
I'll wait to do my recap or something.
I'll let you know. I'll tag you, and you'll know when it's posted. So.
Okay, excellent. Sounds good.
Yeah, but do you want to do another movie? Do you see a movie on the list that? You
You have to give me the list again.
Okay.
I might. It just depends because. Yeah. Oh shoot. Oh,
did
okay,
you
I'm
leave?
still on. Okay, I'm still on. Okay.
Hold on. How do I? Oh, private chat. Is it? There's the list. Can you see it? Oh, what's? Let me just end broadcast. All right, bye everyone. See you.
Bye. Oh yeah.
We'll still be able to talk. I just want to end.